Hi, today I'm going to show you how to apply for UK Standard Visitor Visa if you are unemployed or you're a student or a freelancer. And in this video, I'm going to also explain how you can maximize your chances of getting a standard tourist visa for the UK if you don't have your consistent income, if you don't have personal savings. How can you make sure that you still get the visa? So please make sure you follow me till the end. If you're watching me for the first time, hi, my name is Sarvesh. I'm a barrister of law in England and Wales. I do not have the rights of audience. I have the right to provide unreserved legal services only. And this is purely an educational video and not a legal advice. Now, please come to the website called gov.uk and visit the UK as a standard visitor. Once you come here, we will scroll down and click here. We will apply for 6 months visa, £127. Click here, apply. Select the language English, reject the cookies, click next, and say we are applying from India. And the profile of a person is that he's a YouTuber. I have identified the visa application center. So biometrics is, if you don't know for the first time, it is a location which is a third party provider approved by the UK Home Office where your fingerprints are taken and your photograph is taken for visa purposes. Now, go here, it will take you roughly 25 or 30 minutes. Usually, when the visa is approved, now you no longer get the visa on the passport, it is given in the email. Like, start out of the UK. And do you have any other telephone number? Say no. I can be contacted by telephone call and text messages. Say yes. Click next. Now, do you own the property? Do you rent it? Now, if you're a young applicant and you don't have a property, you're living with your family, then this is what you need to do. Say rent, other, and say I stay with my parents. That's it. The reason why I've written like this is when you give information which is specific and not generic, that I want to see just UK, but if you don't write the cities, if you don't write the places, right, then it doesn't lend credibility because you're already struggling by the fact that you're a younger migrant who may be in the eyes of the visa officer a risk that you will not return back because you don't have a job. You got every reason to stay there in the UK and not return back. So I will show you how you can strengthen your profile by securing a EU visa first, based on which you can say I'm doing a multi-city trip which will be including in, say, for example, Munich in Germany, Paris in France, and Zurich in Switzerland. And from Zurich, I will go to UK where I will explore these cities, and then I would head back to Zurich, and then I would catch a flight back to India. Now, the benefit of that is they will see that this person is disclosing that they've got a Schengen visa, which I've written. Then they have a plan of doing a total 10-day trip, out of which 4-day trip is from X date to X date, and then they know that they have a plan. Now, once you secure a Schengen visa, it builds not only credibility, but it also shows that you are doing a full European tour and you intend to educate your viewers, if you're a vlogger, about the cities, places to stay, pros and cons, what kind of food is presented there, or what kind of culture is there. If you can build a story like that in the cover letter, then your chances of getting approval, provided your finances are solid and you provided documentary evidence of why you would come back from the UK, would, on the balance of probabilities, increase your chances. Now we will move forward. People financially dependent on you. The answer is no. You're dependent on your father. But you will need to provide a signed declaration of your father, just to let you know that he is funding and he's agreed to pay for your entire trip. Then his last 6 months bank statement. And do not make the mistake of um, getting the money from your father's account to your account suddenly in the last 20 days. If he is funding you, keep your bank statements separate, only show his documents, and as far as your average expenses are concerned, you show that my average expenses are so and so. Here is the statement of that. But for the funding reasons, I want you to only consider my father's statements. Do you have a family living in the UK? The answer is no. Will you be traveling as a part of organized group? Now, this is an important part. So sometimes it is beneficial when you travel in a group, like cricket teams go, musicians go, or even friends go. But normally, for the sake of, if you're not a formalized group like a company or something, just select no and just select that. Traveling with another person, will you be traveling with someone who is not your partner, spouse, or friend? So if there is a friend, mention the detail and write the names, right? So here the details are other and so. So if you're traveling with a friend, you can give the names and the details. Otherwise, say no. Accommodation, do you have accommodation in the UK? No, because usually when you know someone as a family, you select yes and then you write it. One piece of suggestion: do not pay for the trip in advance. It is always a guidance from the UK Home Office that please do not make reservations confirmed unless the visa has been secured or has been granted, because if you do that, they will not give you any refund. Please do not do that. Only go to the booking.com, take a snapshot of the dates, the cost, the number of people, and the address. That's it. Do not book Airbnb bookings also, because Airbnb only provides you the address once you've made the payment. And again, as I said, do not make confirmed booking until you have got the visa. Have you been in the UK? Obviously not in the last 10 years. Have you ever traveled to any of the countries in the last 10 years? The answer is no. But if you have, and you should write how many countries you've traveled, click here and check that. But this video is specifically for a person who has never traveled abroad. Now, world travel history: have you been to any other countries in the past 10 years? If you have, go and check the list of the countries. Here the answer is no. Have you been refused visa? The answer is no. Have you ever entered UK illegally, breached in UK immigration? The answer is no. Any convictions? The answer is no. Any criminal crimes, war crimes? I've read all. No terrorist activities? The answer is no. Any extremist views? Have you by any means expressed any extremist views? Now, given you're a vlogger, this is extremely important. So I'm going to just take a few seconds to explain. Now, if you give your handle, if you give your channel name, be very careful about when you give that as a proof, because if tomorrow they see you speaking discourteously in a derogatory manner, or having voicing your opinion that could be deemed as inciting violence or having extremist views. Say for example, if you're talking about somebody from the Muslim religion, Hindu religion in a derogatory manner, they will look at that and they will find a reason that we do not believe that you are somebody of a good character, and we believe you got the views that might be deemed as extremists, right? So please always behave well when you're vlogging and when you're documenting a journey. If there is any such video, please delete it and do not have that. Okay, be very very vigilant. Do not do such activities. Have you, as a part of the employment or otherwise, undertaken any paid or unpaid work on behalf of non-UK government, which you know to be dangerous in the interest of national security? If you work for the government, disclose it. If not, don't. Have you ever engaged in any activity which might indicate that you may not be considered as a part of person of good character? The answer is no. Is there any information that you want to provide which you would like us to make aware of? The answer is no. Have you any work employment history for any judiciary, media, intelligence services, armed forces? The answer is no. Now, any other additional information? Now, this is where you write some information which usually you cannot answer in yes or no concretely. For example, we have said that there is a 10-day trip. So, right now, usually I don't write so much of text in this small form. I tend to use a cover letter because when they look at the form, it's good to provide some certain small information. But usually, what I'm writing here, I write in a structured manner: point one, two, three, four, five, six, and then I show how I meet, right, each and every requirement in order to prove my application um, under the UK rules. I have I have attached a separate cover letter in TLS contact on TLS contact portal. Now, why I'm saying this is TLS Contact is a third party portal where you schedule your appointment for the biometrics or to submit your documentation, and in that you will upload each and every document. But when you write a cover letter, please look at my video as to how to draft a cover letter that will win your application and get your visa approved. Most likely on the balance of probabilities, you should look at that as to how I have drafted drafted those cover letters, because many of my subscribers, when they followed my techniques, they got their visa approved in less than 7 days. Now, I don't guarantee that you will get the visa, because they look at various other factors and the laws keep on changing. But if you are a genuine visitor, you're credible, and you are solid on finances, they have to approve your visa, right? They cannot discriminate. But please make sure that your profile is up to date. All right, click save and continue. Now this is the form that is there. You check the details if there is anything wrong, and then you click next, continue. Then this is the checklist: your passport copy, evidence of funds, evidence of sponsor, evidence of relationship between you and your sponsor, right? So let me take you through quickly. So you need to upload your passport copy, including in the colored way in PDF with medium compression. Make sure you have pages like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that, 32 pages if you have, and do not avoid any page numbers. They need to see in a chronological order. If there are any stamps, they will also look at your Schengen visa, which will be usually on a sticker on your passport, and make sure you don't miss any page, right? You upload that. Then evidence of funds available to you which are clearly accessible. So if your parents have transferred some money, say £2,500 for the trip, for the UK, do two transfers. For example, European trip with a reference writing like say 3,000 euros or 3,000 euros that has been transferred to you for the Germany, France, and European trip. Then another 2,500 or 2,000 pounds for the UK trip, and then it's transferred. Then you justify that these funds have arrived in my bank account from my father. Here is my father's bank account statement for the last 6 months. Here is a signed declaration from my father. Here is my last 6 months statement. But ordinarily, I don't recommend that you transfer the money from your parents to you. You say, for the sake of this application, I have only shown the bank statement of my father for the funding. As far as my average expenses are concerned, I'm also showing my expenses, which is for the expenses viewing only. But to sustain the entire trip, it is my father's documentation. Then evidence of relationship, birth certificate copy, photographs when you were born, or when in the recent times with your mother and father together, and also on a certificate, education certificate that proves that. Usually on the passport you have your father's name, and that is sufficient. Evidence that your sponsor is not or will not be in breach of the UK immigration laws at the time of visit. Now this comes under the rule V4.3 A to C. The first is they must have a personal or professional relationship going on with you. Then they must not be in breach. So how do you prove? Say my father has never traveled to the UK. He has never applied to the UK. He is of clean character, and he is employed at so and so, or he is retired, and here are his credentials. And he has not broken any laws because he's never applied to the UK immigration. That's it, right? What else you can provide besides this? You can provide a signed declaration where your father says, I am sponsoring my daughter, Neha Bhatt, born on this and this date, for the sake of this 10-day trip. Before that, after which she is likely to go for her MBA studies. Here is the proof of her MBA studies. Here is the fees that has been deposited, 10%, 20%. Here is the proof that she has secured admission, the email, and that's it. And then she will return back. Then you must show also something called your ties to the country, that what will compel you to come back to the country, right? Remember, I told you in V4.2 B that they want you to come to the UK and then come back. And then also, you must not make frequent visits. So you can say that to prove my home ties to the country, I have already been accepted at the top business school in the country. Here is a proof of my admission. Some fees has been paid, but this admission confirms that I have got a legal obligation to come back and complete my studies. And that's it, right? If you do that, save and continue. You confirm that these are the conditions you will abide by. Click OK. I am above 18 and over. You read all the simple declaration that if you lie or something, that then they will take action. And you provided the information and supporting evidence. Accept the above. Then you go and click continue. You should apply for 6 months, not for 2 years or 5 years, if you don't have history, right? And then they will ask you to make a payment, which is 16,195. I'm not going to go further, but the next step is you go and pay by your debit card or the net banking. You will get a big reference number and a TLS contact number or link, where you will go and upload each and every document. My recommendation 100% is that do not upload all the documents all together. The naming convention is extremely important, so pay attention. Write like this: near but current passport copy. That's one. If you have an old passport, near but old passport copy. Then near but sponsored third party proof. Here, near but personal banking statement 6 months. If you have six statements, I would say you can amalgamate together and upload them. Then near but Schengen Visa. Then near but proof of flight from Delhi to say Munich. Near but proof of flight from Zurich to London. Near but proof of travel between Germany, France, and Switzerland, and near but hotel stays in the UK, near but hotel stays in European region, and a cover letter. Please include the cover letter the way I've written in the extension. If you don't know how to draft a cover letter, I recommend you absolutely go and watch my cover letter, because that could be a deal, be a lifesaver, and that could determine whether you get the visa or not. Now understand, given you're a young migrant and you don't have a job that gives impression that you have economic stability or any consistency or any income, right? It works both ways. The visa officers are always wary of people who don't have any income, because they don't think that you will return back. But at the same time, there is no reason to lie. Don't ask your friends to put money into your bank account suddenly, because that will most likely get your visa rejected. Always declare who has given you the money. If you borrowed from credit card, how are you going to pay those bills, right? How, who is looking after you when you're not employed? What is that will compel you to come back? Always be upfront about it. The more you are upfront about it, the more you prepare your application with documentary evidence the way I've explained to you, the more credible you will appear. And again, the reason why I've said you should apply for Schengen visa before you get the UK visa approval, or before you even apply for the UK visa, is usually they look for previous travel history in the questions like they asked. If you've never traveled before, right, it just weakens your application, that we don't know whether we should grant you the visa or not. But if you can say that, look, here I got the visa, you don't need to worry about anything, because my father is paying, he's given me declaration, here is his statements, and I have got an admission, that means I have to come back, right? You'll be remarkably surprised how good the UK home office is. They will absolutely grant you the visa. Now, but this means this is not a guarantee, but please do not lie or misrepresent. Do not hide the fact. If you're awaiting a trial, if you have a conviction, please do not apply. In the home country, if you have a conviction, right, please do not apply, because they will run through the checks. And if it turns out that you lied on the form or you misrepresented, right, once your visa is refused, you do not have the automatic right of appeal. That's why it's important to get skilled experts help to prepare that application. If in case you want my help to draft you a letter, which I will charge the fees for, or help you prepare the application and the documentation so that you can submit yourself, you can reach out to me. But my idea is, the more detailed information that I've provided you, you become so good at it that you understand it. You watch the video again and again, draft a solid cover letter, and make a genuine application. And I hope to hear from you. Like many of my subscribers have come to me with success stories, that thank you for teaching me. I applied your cover letter, I applied your strategy, and I got the visa within 1 week's time. So I hope you've liked the video. If you feel that I've added value to your journey, and if you believe that I've been helpful in helping you understand the UK visitor rules or immigration laws, then I would love for you to subscribe. Do ask me questions. I cannot always answer, because some of the questions are covered under professional advice. So for that, I will charge a fees. But most of the generic guidance, I'm happy to give that. Till next time, take care and see you next time.